Hello to all of my peeps. It's so good to see you here today from my chair, episode 84. I've got G-Bug with me today. She's so beautiful. I wanted you to see old G-Bug and my spider plant. She's doing well. I'm excited about that. Thank you for hanging with me as we open these boxes and discover some wonderful things about our personalities, as well as some painful things about our personalities. And this week, we're looking at My Box is Perfect, the perfect box. This is my box, and I'm interested and very excited that I'll let you in, and a little bit nervous that I'll let you in on what's going on as far as my box is concerned. Say this, as you are seeing, we each are very different and very unique, but there are two things that we all have in common. Number one, we all want to feel like we belong. We all want to feel like we belong. And then number two, we all want to see that our lives have meaning. So though we're all very, very different, we all have two very, very common goals. We want to feel like we belong, and we want to see that our lives have meaning. We've got to learn to get along with people who are like us and those who are not like us. And that often, that process can often be very messy. Because let's just be honest, relationships are very seldom simple. Now it's wonderful when they are, but they're very seldom simple. Most of them have seasons of just plain old messy. We got to stick it out. We got to hang in there. For today, let's jump in. Our quote, two quotes for today. Number one from Anne Lamott: "Perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor, the enemy of the people." Perfectionism, it is an oppressive voice, and I want us to know that from Anne Lamott. Great quote from her. And then this one, honestly, from T.S. Eliot. Unless you're here, you won't understand it. Maybe at the end of the lesson you will. T.S. Eliot describes a one box very well with a question. And it says this: "What is this self inside us, this silent observer, severe and speechless critic who can terrorize us?" And you won't understand it till the end unless you're one box. There is a self inside of us. It's a silent observer. It's a critic. We call it our inner critic, and we'll get to it. I need to cite my sources. The Road Back to You by Ian Crone and Suzanne Stabile, and The Path Between Us by Suzanne Stabile. I love these resources. I'm having a good time sharing them with you. Now, let's jump in. What's it like to live inside of this box? I love this. And that pencil, it needs to go right back in there because we are the perfectionist box. So what's it like to live inside of this box? Let's discuss it. Number one, nothing is ever good enough. It's not. Nothing is ever good enough. In fact, victory, even victory, is short-lived. It's always about what could have been done better. Yes, that was a win, all right, but what could we have done better? Nothing is ever good enough for a one box. That's a tough place to be. Number two, it seems to me that things are either right or wrong. In my eyes, in my view, my personality box, it seems to me that things are either right or wrong. Gray is not a color. Middle ground is hard to accept. And sitting on the fence, well, it's weak. I love Revelation. That God says you're neither cold nor hot, but you're lukewarm. It's like He doesn't want you lukewarm. That's on the fence. He wants you cold or He wants you hot. It seems to me that things are either right or wrong. Number three, I beat myself up when I make mistakes. Mistakes are so painful. And the thing is, it's not easily or quickly forgotten. We play it back over and over and over again. A lot of people can make a mistake, wipe their hands, get over it, move on. Not a one box. They relive it. It's on like repeat. It's like a song on repeat. We relive mistakes over and over and over. They're very, very painful. And we do beat ourselves up over it every single time. Number four, I worry a lot. My husband has to help me a lot with this. I do worry a lot. A one box worries a lot. It's not necessarily a fear, but it's a worry. And it's a very, very real thing. Number five, I like routine and don't readily embrace change. I don't like when things change. I love a routine. I love everything on time, every time. I like it. My morning routine, I like to do the same things every day. Predictability is very soulless for me. I have a very predictable man. He's not up and down and up and down. He's very predictable, very even. I love that. That's soulless for me. And it's very, very comforting to me. Number 6, what's it like to be in my box? I notice immediately, this is tough. I notice immediately when things are wrong or out of place. This is brutal, I'm just telling you. I notice it immediately. If you're in one box, you notice immediately when things are wrong or out of place. I notice error that others don't see and often feel a responsibility to correct it. Yeah. Whether it's in a house, whether it's with the children, whether it's in the store, whether it's outside, doesn't matter. You see it and notice it very, very quickly, and you feel a responsibility to fix it and correct it. That's brutal for your mind, I'm just saying. Number 7, I don't like it when people ignore or break the rules. I don't like it when you break the rules. I don't like it when you ignore the rules. Like when the person in the fast lane at the grocery store has more items than it says. More items than it's allowed. In my box, 10 items means 10 items. Yep. And if I miscounted before I got in the line, that was a mistake. I feel bad about it, and I apologize to the lady for having 12 items because I miscounted. And yes, you're standing there looking at the conveyor belt, counting everybody's item. I know. It's just this relentless pursuit of perfection. And if it says 10 items, then you need it to be 10 items. And you're counting everybody's items in your mind as you're standing there to make sure that they have 10. And I know. But don't break the rules. Don't break the rules. I don't like it when you break the rules. Number 8, if I say I'll do it, I'll do it. Now, parentheses, as I get older, I forget things. I do. I forget things, and I have to apologize for that too. But if I say I'll do it, I'll do it. And I'll add this for free. I expect you to do what you say as well, and I'll be disappointed if you don't. If you tell somebody you're going to be somewhere, you need to be there. If you tell a one box that you're going to do something, you need to do it. Be careful what you tell a one box, because they're going to expect you to do what you say, because that's how they roll. They're going to do what they say they're going to do. Number 9. People have told me that I can be overly critical and judgmental. This is so painful. I have to own it. I hate it, but I have to own it. People have told me that I can be overly critical and judgmental. We believe that criticism is caring. I care about you, therefore I'm going to criticize you. After all, don't you want to fix what's wrong with you? In my eyes, you see something wrong and you point it out, you call them on the carpet about it. It's because I want you to be better. I want you to do better. Don't you want to do better? Don't you want to be better? But a lot of people don't see it like that. They don't take it from us very well. They see it as being judgmental and critical. I have to work on that a lot. Number 10. I have to daily contend with a pesky inner critic. A pesky inner critic. It finds fault with most of what I do and think. It's constantly a barrage of finding fault and criticism. Minimization. It constantly reminds me that I must do better and I must be better. So then, and I will say this, it's relentless. It really is relentless. And when you have a relationship with a one box, the inner critic, you also have to have a relationship with the inner critic as well as the one box. It's one and the same, and it's tough. What is the communication style of a one box? I love this. Sermons. And again, I'm quoting. I didn't come up with this off the top of my head. Sermons, teaching, preaching, finding fault, admonishing, correcting, reminding of obligations. That is the talk style. And I'll say this, something that we have to work on as one boxes is our tone. Our tone. We have to be careful not to talk down to people. We don't mean to. We don't mean to. It's just we've found something. Don't you want to fix it? and therefore our tone can show up in all the wrong ways. I would much rather text you about an issue than verbally communicate with you, because texting has no tone. And I can erase it and delete it and do it again, and erase it, delete it, and do it again. And it has emojis too. I like emojis. That's the communication style of a one box: sermons, teaching, correction, and correcting people. In a relationship with a one box, things are very serious and they're very deep all the time. It can really be exhausting. I love my peeps. I feel sorry for my close inner circle peeps. I wear them out because everything has to be so deep and so serious all the time. There are always issues that need to be addressed and problems that need to be solved. We have way too many expectations for others, and often we feel let down when those expectations aren't met. And I have to work on that all the time. And it is. One of my peeps texted me, "Can we just chat and not solve any problems?" It's like, yes, oh my word. They know me very well. They know I'm going to dive into a problem or an issue, or let's talk heart talk. And they just want chit chat. How was your day? This happened here and this happened here. I have to be real careful about those things and live in healthy spaces with my other peeps. And we do have too many expectations. And we do feel let down because those expectations are often not met. We have very high expectations. But again, it's something that we have to work on constantly. It is very difficult to put down the shield. So what kind of shield are you talking about, Miss Edge? It's the shield that displays emotional transparency and vulnerability. Yeah. That shield that shows our emotional vulnerability. One boxers are afraid of messing up. We're afraid of saying the wrong things in a relationship. Yeah. So it's very hard for us to put that shield down. I'll add this: in stress, we're argumentative and uncompromising. We're picky, and your efforts to please us often fail. That's tough. Tough to hear in a relationship. Again, Lord bless my peeps, my family that have to deal with that. And we work on those things. Those are things that we have to work on. The one boxes, they tend to focus on what other people want from them. I want to know what you want from me because I want to meet that need that you want from me. Thus losing touch with their own needs and desires. Therefore, success and failure is determined by how well they measure up to what others define as good. So basically, I am wired to measure my success or my failure based on your definition of what is good and not based on Christ's love and acceptance of me. It's a tough space to be in. It really is. So what's our primary struggle? We said that box 8 was lust. Box 9 was sloth. What's our box? Box 1 is anger. In perspective, we're in the anger triad here. In perspective, box 8 externalizes it. Box 9, they forget it. They ignore it. Remember the little doggy and that's just sleeping? They just want to ignore it and forget it. But in one box, anger, we internalize it. Yeah, we internalize our anger. The best visual illustration that I can give you is steam building up in a pressure cooker. There's only so much steam that the regulator can handle, and then it gets to be too much to contain, and it blows the steam out. Anger in a one box doesn't usually manifest itself as blowing up and yelling, but as something a bit more subtle. One box go-to emotion is the result of that insidious anger called resentment. Yeah, resentment. That's their go-to emotion. When one box is angry about something, they turn that anger in on themselves first, and it feels like shame. Yeah. And then shame adds a bitter quality that results in a complex resentment. I'll say this: we are seldom angry at what we appear to be angry about. If and when you ever see the steam come out of the cooker, it's not just that one thing that you said or didn't say or did do or did not do. No, the anger has built up as resentment. A prime example, I have to give you this illustration. I don't want to, but I'm going to. A couple of weeks ago, we had a technical difficulty with my YouTube lesson. It did not air how I wanted it to air and when I wanted it to air, which after 80 plus episodes of flawless uploading perfection, this was not an easy, simple thing for even a healthy one box to handle. I'm just saying. It was not pretty. And I had people trying to encourage me and all that, and it was because I want perfection. It has to air this certain time on this certain day, no matter what. This is the way it's been, and it didn't happen. It rocked my world. Something so simple as that. Yes. Welcome to a one box. Welcome to my world. So what happened, Miss Edge? I'll let you be the fly on the wall. By Thursday morning, I'd had enough of the internal resentment and struggle. So every morning, I think I've told you this many months ago, but every morning my bestie calls, every school morning, my bestie calls, and we have our prayer time. So by Thursday morning, when Joanna called me, let's just say it was messy. Not on her, on me. I let her have it. Not being ugly, but it was filled with tone and frustration, aggravation. It was like the pressure cooker whose steam just got to be too much, and I unloaded. And it wasn't in the right spirit. It wasn't in the right way. I failed. I failed, and I'll admit that. Now, praise the Lord. Praise my sweet Jesus for a very patient, very understanding bestie, and her ability to forgive me before I ever asked for it. But looking back at it, and I had to step back and look at it like, what went wrong here? Goodness gracious, it was messy. That's why I said at the beginning, relationships, they're messy. But looking back at it, it wasn't just that one incident. It was many things that had built up over time, unrelated. Totally unrelated. Just all kinds of different things that had been in the put in the pressure cooker, just steaming and boiling, and then all of a sudden I'd had enough. And sadly, she was the one that got the debrief on that. They got the offload. They got the pressure cooker. And yes, I did have to go back and apologize and rethink some things. And so yes, even though I've been studying this for years and years and years, you're still not totally all the time in a healthy space. And so yes, it was a lot of times our anger and our resentment is not just about that one thing that you said or didn't say or did not do. It's a lot of other things. And honestly, I'll just be straight with you. I offloaded that. I went back and said, okay, it was this, and because we have a hard time naming our anger. It was this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and boom, it just all blew up. So why are one boxes the way they are? They really do. We really do have a compelling need to perfect things that are flawed, including ourselves. We want to perfect them. There's a compelling need to perfect them. There isn't another box that we will discuss that demands so much and rewards so sparingly, because there's literally no end to what needs to be done. There's no end. There's always something that needs to be tweaked or fixed or perfected, and it's just relentless. So what's the path to growth for one boxes? There are 10 things that I have not perfected, but I've been working on them. I'm working on them for several years, and as you saw just a couple of weeks ago, I failed. So I'm still working on these things, but let's talk about this, our path to growth. Number one, true peace comes when you surrender your compulsive need for perfection. Yeah, surrender it. Surrender your compulsive need for perfection, because a person does not need to be perfect to be good, and I quote. A person does not need to be perfect to be good. Number two, you must stop stifling your emotions, particularly your anger. I love Proverbs 29:11. I read it in a different light the other day, and as I'm dealing with all of this, it says, a fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it in till afterwards. It doesn't say he keepeth it in forever and ever and ever and ever. No, he keepeth it in till afterwards. In other words, he don't just blow his top all the time, going around blowing his top everywhere. He keepeth it in, but there's a specific time, a specific place, a specific person, a specific area that he can offload those things that bother him, those emotions and things. Stop stifling your emotions, particularly your anger. You're not built to carry everything alone. I've had to come to grips with that. I can't carry everything by myself. You need a planned time, a planned person to debrief and to offload. It's been so helpful to me personally that I don't have to carry everything. Let me offload this. Let me debrief you about this. And it has been very, very helpful to me. Next, number 3, you can't live in a world where everyone attends to details in the same ways as you do. Details aren't important to everyone. I was watching someone vacuum carpet the other day, just a few days ago, and they went all around in circles. It looked fine, you know. I didn't want to step on it and mess it all up, but it was all around in circles, and I stopped, and it's a big joke between us. And I want them in lines. I want the vacuum in lines. I want the grass mowed in perfect lines. It's just how we think. But details aren't important to everyone. Not everyone needs the carpet in straight lines, all facing one direction. And I just thought that was funny. And number 4, accept that your way is not the only right way. I go back to the details. You know what? My way of vacuuming is not the only right way to vacuum. It looked really good the way that my Pete did it. It doesn't always have to be my way, except you're going to have to accept that your way is not the only right way. Number 5, it's not so much about how many times you forgive somebody else. The Bible says 70 times 7. It didn't really necessarily put a number on it. Oh, you need to forgive somebody 490 times. No, the point was, it was telling Peter, look, as often as they ask it, forgive. But here's our thing, okay? Our thing is, it's not so much about how many times you forgive, it's more about the swiftness of the forgiveness. The swiftness of the forgiveness. We tend to want people to earn it, and that takes time. We've got to learn to let it go. Number 6, you'll need to learn to stop and ask the question, is this mine to do? I cannot tell you how much stress this has helped get me out of. Especially with other people, other children, other responsibilities, other adults. Is this mine to do? If the answer is no, step back and don't deal with it. If it is mine to do, here we go. Let's go. Let's get this done. Let's get all the hymn books in order. Let's get the vacuum cleaner out. Let's get it in lines. But if it's not my turn, watch. If it's not my turn, it's not mine to do. So ask yourself, you're going to cut out a lot of stress when you ask and honestly answer that question right there. Is this mine to do? Number 7, you can seek perfection, but you can't have it. That's hard, isn't it? Heaven will be perfect. Yes. Christ, yes. Those golden stars, I'm excited about that. Heaven will be perfect. But down here, you can seek it, but you can't have it. Because perfection is momentary. When something shifts, everything changes. You can perfect something, but it will only stay perfect until something shifts, and then it's not perfect any longer. So I'm looking forward to heaven. That's perfect. You can seek perfection, but you can't have it. Number 8, be mindful of the times when you take things too seriously. This is so painful. When one box becomes too serious about too many things, they can be too hard on other people and on themselves. In other words, lighten up. And it has to be a choice. It has to be a choice to lighten up. My husband is so good at this. He can see the stress that I worry and the stress of it all, and he'll do something funny or say something funny. He's so good about that. But we've got to learn to laugh more. In healthy spaces, we do laugh a lot. We're affable people. We're enjoyable people to be with in healthy spaces. Otherwise, we take things in life and ourselves way too seriously. Let's discuss these last 2. We're going to talk about the inner critic. What can we do to silence the inner critic? I'll explain it like this. An inner critic is that inner voice that criticizes us and our choices all day, every day, and it's exhausting. You fight this inner critic all day, every day. So what can we do to turn down the volume? 2 things. Number 9 in our list, self-compassion. Self-compassion. Designate a specific journal and debrief what your inner critic has told you that day. And then read it out loud and refute it with truth. You're garbage. No, I'm not. God tells me I'm not garbage. You're not enough. Yes, I am enough. You're not needed. Yes, I am needed. So write it down when your inner critic, whatever your inner critic has told you today, write it down in a journal, read it out loud, and address it, and then refute it with the truth. With the truth. Show yourself some compassion. Show yourself some compassion. Number 10, self-acceptance. So not just self-compassion, but self-acceptance. I have found that it's pointless to tell my inner critic to be quiet because it only gets louder. Have your garbage, this is pointless. Nobody cares about this stuff. And oh, stop it, hush, knock it off. It just gets louder. It gets louder. The more I tell my inner critic to knock it off, the deeper the insults become. I know, you think we're crazy, that's fine, but we're not. It is an inner critic, and it's very, very real. It's relentless, and it's exhausting every single day. I'm learning to befriend my inner critic. Befriend it. I give it a silly name. Oh, come on, this is not important. This is so ridiculous. Okay, Negative Nancy, thank you for your input. I know I'm not perfect, but I'm good. I'm not perfect, but according to Christ, I'm good. I'm in the beloved. I'm His. And I'm loved with an everlasting love. So give it a silly name. Mine's Negative Nancy. My husband talks about it. Okay, tell Negative Nancy to stop, you know, because I'll say little things here and there. Befriend your inner critic. Stop fighting against it. Just befriend it, and the criticisms of yourself, they'll turn down. The volume will turn down, I promise. What amazing things do One Boxes offer the world. It takes a lot for us to walk away from you. Yeah. We don't do well walking away from people and relationships and friendships. We don't do well walking away. It takes a lot for us to walk away from you. We love you deeply, and we love you well. We do all we can to protect and care for those that we're in a relationship with. I call it walking guard. I love this slide. Walking guard. I want to walk guard around you and around your spirit. I want to walk guard. Next, what are the things? Because we're very aware of everything going on around us, we will spot problems and needs before the need ever arises. We're looking. If we don't see water on the pulpit for the preacher, we get it, we see it, we know it. Just recently, she's about to need a piece of paper. I'm just watching. I know she's about to need a piece of paper. So what do? I get a piece of paper, and I go take her a piece of paper until she even realizes she's going to need a piece of paper. It's a one box. It's what we do. We have our binoculars out, and we're looking around for needs, and we'll be the first one to meet the need. We're very thoughtful. We're very supportive. And I love this one. We've got your back. We've got your back. I text this to Peeps, and Peeps texts it to me. I've got your back. I've got your back. We're not easily distracted from what's right in front of us, which makes us not good multitaskers. I will own that one. I am not a good multitasker at all, but I'm really good at giving one thing or one person my complete and undivided attention. I'll tell people, I'll be writing something, and they'll be talking to me, and either I have to stop writing and look at them, or look at them and say, hang on just 1 second, let me finish this. We are zoned into you, but we're not very good multitaskers. But we see you, and we want to meet your need and pay attention to you. What do we need to hear? You want to know what One Boxes need to hear? We need to hear that we're good. Last week is you matter. Your presence matters. Your life matters. We need to hear that we're good. That we're good. One Boxes, you're really good just as you are. That's what you need to hear. We need encouragement. We don't need other numbers don't need it as much encouragement as One Boxes do, because we see everything as flawed, and we need to know that we're not flawed either. And I want us to do that. Next week, let's look. Next week, we're going to do Box 2. I need you in my box, the needy box. So be in your places. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. Don't forget, Lydia at 11 with leukemia. Now go be amazing today.